Alright, so welcome to our presentation of our Deep Earth Hazard. For this group, myself, aka Matthew Deal, and my group mate Cameron Incy are going to talk to you about the Alaska Good Friday earthquake of 1964. So, for some background info, I'll tell you how this all came about. For some context, this earthquake was a magnitude 9.2 earthquake and is to date the largest earthquake ever recorded in America. It all started on a Friday afternoon of March 27, 1964. This also happened to be Good Friday, and at 5:36 p.m., just when some people were starting to eat, for about 4 minutes seismic waves started traveling out from a spot 74 miles southeast of Anchorage, Alaska. The main reason this happened is because at this epicenter near Anchorage, there is a convergent plate boundary that is home to a subduction zone where the Pacific plate is sliding under the North American plate. For whatever reason, a huge section of the fault slipped roughly 30 to 60 feet, which is an enormous amount relative to the size of the section that slipped. Obviously, considering that this was America's largest earthquake, there were some serious damages. For example, eyewitnesses were quoted as saying that they saw asphalt roads rise and fall like waves, and the ground opening and closing before them. Firstly, the shaking caused water, sewer, and gas line breaks, as well as widespread electrical failures. These seismic waves were also directly responsible for toppling telephone poles, buckling railroad tracks, and splitting roads in half. It also uprooted buildings, cars, and docks, and tore homes apart. Indirectly, it even led to a swell of tsunamis, landslides, and submarine slumps, which were devastating in their own right and led to massive property damage. Apparently, they say that some parts of the coast sank up to 8 feet, whereas other parts rose up to 38 feet, and much of the coast moved 50 feet out towards the ocean. All in all, this led to a death toll of 131 people, with 15 dying to the initial tremors, and the rest from the subsequent tsunamis and landslides.
Alright, now on to the environmental impact of the 1964 earthquake. And all of these major effects happened 130,000 kilometers around the epicenter. The tsunami, devastating coastal marshlands, salmon spawn areas being damaged, fish and clams being killed. One notable thing, though, is that an enormous mass of land and seafloor moved several tens of feet horizontally towards the Gulf of Alaska. And some of this uplifted seafloor is shown here on the right with an image from earthmagazine.org. And at the very least, you can see how displaced the snow is along the coast. Furthermore, avalanches transformed Alaska's landscape in this 130,000 kilometer radius around the epicenter, destroying the habitats of or killing moose, goats, sheep, and deer in that area. Now, what did we learn? Well, we got new geologic and hydrologic information, new investigative techniques. One thing, though, is that we learned that lakes can be used as giant tilt meters. And this is illustrated here on the right with an image from iris.edu. This one's being used on volcanoes, but it's the same idea for lakes. And I chose this image because I wanted to show the versatility of using giant water bodies as tilt meters. You know, this case, magma body. It's very similar. We have a refinement of land measuring methods. It inspired relating hydrology to seismology worldwide by studying hydroseisms in water bodies or even wells. But most importantly, it helped define the research needed in the future and some practices to prevent another earthquake from being this destructive. And possibly saving lives. Which now begs the question, did we actually benefit from this? Was this earthquake actually a good thing? In the long run, of course. Because considering saving lives is certainly a big deal, and I think it is a valid question to raise. Now, some fun facts and a quick summary. Connecticut was the only state in the U.S. to not record seismic waves. Every other state in the U.S. recorded seismic waves of varying degrees, except Connecticut. Like, even Florida, which is so far away, was able to record seismic waves, but Connecticut just didn't. Alaska really recorded some seismic waves, though. It wobbled the Space Needle in Seattle, Washington, which was recently built at the time. And to summarize, this is one of the largest and deadliest earthquakes in U.S. history felt throughout North America. But a lot was learned from this event and is still being used and built upon today to prevent additional damages from earthquakes and study them more effectively, which is possibly saving lives. And now just on to the works cited. Slides 2, 3, and 4 came from history.com. Slide 5 came from environmentandsociety.org, which is where I got the environmental impacts from. Slides 6 and 7 came from usgs.gov, who really covered a lot of the earthquake stuff, and there's definitely some overlapping information with the work cited because of how extensive the usgs.gov information bank is. All right, that's the slides.